Well, hi, good morning, and welcome to my shop. Thanks for joining me here. It's February 22nd. And let's see, yesterday I fiddled around with the alignment of the IF, and I think I discovered that the signal traveling through the first IF transformers, well, it doesn't seem to be traveling through it. So either something's happening just before that transformer, just after, maybe the tube before, or something's going on there. So I've set up a little experiment here. I don't really know how valid this actually is, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway. One of the things I noticed when I was tuning this transformer was I could turn the screw all the way one way, and the signal seemed to be increasing, but then the screw ran out. The signal only got so high. Never saw a peak, which is the main thing. Never saw a peak. The other transformer produced peaks just fine. By turning the screw, you can see very clear peaks, but this one, no. So is there a problem right in here? To try to find that out, what I've done is I've set up my sweep generator here, sweeping through the IF frequency that this transformer should be tuned to, and then we're watching it on the oscilloscope here. Let's see if I can get that light out of there. What we should see here is some kind of a shape like that. Something like that should show up. I suspect that's not going to happen. Now, the test I'm doing is a little questionable because I've hooked the equipment right up to the transformer coil leads. Scope on the output here, grid cap, and the signal generator going right onto one of the wires. Goes right up into the transformer, and I put the grounds onto the chassis. So I'm going to turn up the signal level now, and we'll look and see what happens on the oscilloscope. I don't have a lot of faith in this. Just to check the sweep, so we're starting at just above 430 kilohertz and going up to 495. Kind of either side of 455. Okay, let's start the sweep. The sweep on the scope is being generated from here, from the sweep output here. Okay, I'll just turn this up, the output up, and we'll see what happens there. What I would hope to see is a pretty clear thing like this. Instead, it's expanding way down here. Let me tune the capacitors. We'll see if we can move that a little bit, but that's so far off already. I just really kind of doubt you could ever bring that back. Okay, I'm turning a capacitor here. Wait a minute. Better screwdriver. Go. It's tightening. That's as tight as it goes. You can see a change, and then loosening it way off. So it's all moving this way, but the peak is still way out there. That's one screw up. I'll try the other one. I mean, I can't imagine this is gonna do anything much, really. It doesn't do anything. It's all related to that first screw. First capacitor. My guess is there's an open circuit in this coil. That's easy to check. Well, it's not as easy as you might think. Let me take the equipment off here. Just get my ohm meter out. Oh, of course, there's another wire coming out the top too. Don't forget that. So there's actually 6 wires. Oop, 6 wires. 6 wires. What are 6 wires doing going in there? I'm afraid we have to look at the schematic at this point. We're looking at this can. They appear to have drawn this as if the bottom of the can is open. I think that's what they're doing here. Okay, so the can has a wire, not showing the bottom here, but this is going outside. There's only 4 wires here. This one's only got 4 wires. What the heck would another pair of wires be doing coming out of this? Huh. I don't know. Huh. Okay, let's look back at the radio here. Maybe I'm seeing things. I am seeing things. There's only 4 wires. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the top. I'm going to take the can off because it's just these nuts here holding it on. We'll see what's under that can. Might have a little bit of trouble getting the can off because of the grid cap lead. Oops. Where'd that go? Oh, not another nut chase. Fell down this way. Where did it go? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to lose 2 washers into there. Oh, I can't pull this off. Can I? Can I pull this off? No, it's screwed at the top. So the top is screwed. It's actually holding the coil itself. So I've only taken a few of these apart in my day. Because they seldom actually require attention. This is not soldered on. This will be crimped on. Getting it off is no small deal. I mean, getting it back on is no small deal. So there's the coil wrapped in cardboard paper. Oh boy. Facing I'm afraid we have to do this because there's just no other way around it here. We'll worry about reattaching this later. Catch on. What's going on here? What's happening? Come on. I'm gonna wreck this. Oh my gosh. Son of a gun. So there's a bottom plate that the coil is mounted on. The bottom plate is roughly the same dimensions as the square opening here. The square opening is restricted by the rivets. The rivets of these. These are, it's as if they put the coil in and then riveted these things on afterwards. That just doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. There's got to be a way of getting this out here. Here, maybe I don't need to get it off. Let's take this out. Maybe I've seen enough already. Oh boy. If I haven't broken wires in here, I mean, if there's broken wires in here, let me rephrase that. I probably broke some wires in here on top of the ones that were already broken. Oh boy. So what do we got here? Well, I only see 4 wires. I see 3 wires. What happened? Oh, I got fooled. I've been fooled. Ah! I went and did this for no good reason. Okay, how did I get so fooled? Because now, here I see, wait a minute. Son of a gun. Okay, so this wire, which is just passing by, for some reason my eye saw it going inside. Oh, son of a gun. Okay, so I did a couple of measurements wrong too then. Okay. It's the price you pay. It's the price you pay. I haven't even paid the price yet. The price is still coming. Okay. Now we want to check this. So I'm going to assume the 2 wires coming this way. It's this one. And the red one. Go to the coil. This time, watch the meter over there. Other leg that is on here is on, I believe, this one. Oh, still don't see anything. Definitely on the red wire. And the black wire. Well, it's got to go here, or it's got to go here. I'm going to go to those 2 places. Either one's showing I got this maybe too low. Let's put it way up, 200K, because it could be a high resistance in the coil there. Let's try that. There we are. It was negative at first. Wow. Okay, so that's even saying. I'm not sure what that's saying now. 200,000. Let's try it again. Circuit. Well, that is what I'm suspicious of. So there's fittings for this to slide through. And this one thing has slipped out of place. And if I get it back, I can get this cover off easily. Easily. Come on. I don't want to pull on it. Oh boy. Why am I even doing this? I'm only going to have the problem of putting it back on later. Okay, stop. Make observations. Okay, so there's a lead here with a wire. It's a lead. What's this? Wow. It's a really gentle stuff here. I've probably roughed it up really badly. Let's switch cameras and observe the damage done. Fools rush in, right? And that's what I've done here. I've kind of gone in here, and I probably shouldn't have needed to do this. Mind you, initial tests still indicate, you know what, the automatic focus is on this camera. I've got to turn it off, or we will go nuts. Let's try that. Okay, I want to look at this. So you see the wire coming out, and then it's connecting to this, what looks like a component lead coming down from the top. The top is that's the capacitor. The two capacitors are. There you can see the connection there. We have a similar thing over here. It's like, so the wire comes up, goes on the terminal, and then the wire coming out of the coil then goes to this terminal, which looks okay. So the other coil, quite a distance apart. The wire's kind of going around the back there. It's going to head up to the top too to find a terminal to connect to the lead wire. Seems to get there. And there's one last one. Yeah, I mean, this thing's been in a can, protected from everybody but me all this time. So there's the other terminal. You can see a wire coming to it. So what could happen is the wire can be open circuited right in the coil somewhere. I mean, that's what we're really worried about. Okay, so I'm going to try to make a resistance measurement up there where I can kind of see better what I'm doing. I'm not on the lead wires. I still don't have great faith in this. Okay, test the meter. Oop. Okay, meter test. Short circuit shown. One coil. Short circuit. Now the other coil. Kind of it there. Yeah, the meter's not reacting at all. I can clearly see the wires coming from this coil. Sit somewhere. Sit still. Okay. Okay, so I can get this red wire for sure in the back of the radio here. There's no doubt about it. It's this other one. Okay, I'm tapping the terminal. I don't see the meter doing anything. Am I really getting there? Son of a gun. There. Okay, I can see the probe on the... Oh, there it goes. Okay, as soon as I could see the probe on the coil. So that suggests the coil is continuous. And I've really taken an unnecessary risk here, big time. We're going to try to put it away now without destroying it. Up you go. Doesn't sound very good, does it? Up you go. I gotta get the screw to come through the top. Oh my gosh. What's it got an X up here for? Where's the... Oh, there's something, ooh. Something springy. Shouldn't be anything springy. I'm in big trouble here. Why is this coil is spinning? The coil shouldn't spin. We're in big trouble. Big trouble. Biggest trouble ever. Big trouble. Wait, don't run. This kind of trouble is lots of fun. This is bad news here. What the heck is going on? Looking right down through the hole there. I think I'm looking right at the screw thing that should come through the hole I'm looking through, but it won't. I feel like there's a wire. There is a wire. There's a great big wire. What's that wire doing up there? Oh, that's the wire. What's the wire? That's the wire. I got the wire to come out of this hole here. Oh, right. Yeah, didn't I say something? I haven't done this very much. Oh boy, how am I going to get that wire out of there? I can't even see in this thing. Oh my gosh, this bit of a jackpot here. Definitely. A jackpot is a situation that you get yourself into that you cannot get out of easily. Usually involves pain and injury. In this case, it's coupled with embarrassment. I got a little carried away. So I changed one problem to 7 problems. That's the way to do it, Jim. What was in my mind when I did this anyway? What was I thinking? This has to go this way. How am I ever going to find that wire in there? Oh my. It's a really dumb situation I've put myself in here. Wow, I don't even know how to approach this at this point. Wait a second. Wait a second. Yeah, the wire was coming out of here. I just noticed this one's coming out of here. Holy smokes, how do you deal with something like this? What a dumb situation I'm in now. I have to pull the can right off, get it off, then I have to straighten that wire right out. Then I have to put the can on and fish it onto the wire. Wire solved. Put the can all the way on, and get the screw top to come through here. The can has to come off to straighten that wire out. can is interfered with by clips. The can is bent. Its shape is not its normal shape. My guess is if it wasn't bent and I was careful, I could have slid the can right off. But the can is now bent up. Question is how do you bend it back to where it should be? I get clearance on one side. I think that helps the other side too. Okay. Thinking, you know, as I put force on it, if anything slips, I'm just going to rip this thing right out of the radio. That would not be good. Oh yeah, I'm trying to take it off, not put it on. I'm pulling on the actual coil here. Ooh, I kind of cheated that off. There we are. Thought this was a lot longer. Yeah, this'll tug. Look at this. This is interesting. This tugs on the terminal, tugs on the wire of the coil. You know what? This is broken. This wire's broken off here. It's definitely broken off. Did I just do that? I don't know. But because that terminal can wiggle, it's definitely broken off. Okay, so maybe that's the problem with the coil. Maybe I missed that on the first observation. It's up pretty high. Maybe I fixed that and the radio works. If I can put it all back together. Okay, maybe I better stop at this point and just let the adrenaline go down a bit. I'll replace adrenaline with caffeine. How about a quick COVID update from my area? A couple of days ago I mentioned that I live next to or in the UK variant hotspot for Canada. There was something like 200, I can't remember the number now. Well, the number now is, I think, 700 suspected or known cases of the UK variant in various areas of Canada, all over Canada. This remains the hotspot as far as I know. Either here where I live in Aurelia or the next city, Barrie, short distance away. So at the same time, our infection rate and hospital, everything's falling, as it is everywhere. Certainly in the United States, it's falling like crazy. Governments are moving, the provincial level governments that have control over this are moving to unlock things. We're still under a stay-at-home order or a stay-at-home request, and but businesses and that are beginning to open up. At the same time, experts, doctors and that are coming out and saying, no, don't do this. We're on the verge of an explosion of the UK variant here. So that's the story. I think it's a similar story to other countries. Everybody's on edge. They don't know what's going to happen. Things seem to be getting better. Experts worried that a disaster looms just ahead. Okay, back to the radio now. So let's just take a little look at this very suspicious situation here. While I was drinking my coffee and thinking about it, picturing it in my head, I noticed something. Let's take a look with a camera and see if what's in my head is really true. Yes, it is true. What's true is that this piece of wire is an extension coming out from the terminal to reach the wire. Now, why, when they manufactured this, didn't they do it this way, where the wire comes? Ooh, look at how tight that wire is too, right? The wire comes from the coil out to the terminal. It seems very, very poorly attached, doesn't it? Why? Because either in manufacture the coil wire broke back while they were working on it and they ended up with that to work with, so they attach an extension to bring, and that's why it's fairly heavy wire, an extension come out and pick up the wire. But we already know this is a wiggly terminal hooked up externally to something out in the world, and this isn't the greatest test, but it could be that I broke this wire when I unhooked the grid cap. I'm not even thinking about what might happen inside here. Hard to expect these terminals to not be mobile because look, they're just shoved in porcelain here. There's nothing particularly fixed about them. Oh, I didn't even look at the top of this thing. Look at that pile of dust on there. Yikes, that's the capacitor at the top there. So now there's hardly any wire protruding. Come back here. Sorry about the, let me just turn the camera around this way. I'll stop swimming around in circles here. Where'd it go? There we are. Looks like the wire kind of snapped back. What's all that wax there? There's also, it's maybe not to bend that up. Look like it. I was going to say there's evidence that there's a track, the wire has been pulled back out of the wax. But I don't think that's the case. Let me unpick that piece of stuff there. In fact, let me fix this camera. I'm going to bring over a camera mount and make this work a little better for me. Okay, that's a really good view of it now. Just looking everything over very carefully before I start poking. So let's see if we can drag out the wire out. Here we are. Couldn't find my tool there. Doesn't look like it. Just looks like a big blob of wax. So there's a really good chance this is beeswax. It looks like it, doesn't it? This is like some operation on the outside of the space shuttle, or International Space Station. Well, I can't pick that off. Why am I even trying? Trying to extend the wire as much as I can and get this. I really need to get this glob off of it here. Melt it off. Does beeswax melt? So what? I'm running the risk. So just stop for a sec, Jim. This is the inside wire. It's coming from the inside of the coil. The other one is an outside wire. So if you need more wire, you can probably tug on it and pull it out of the wax a little bit. But not this one. This is all I got here. Okay, so let's stop fooling with it and think about this. I've got to extend the extension over to where the wire is. Then literally, if I get one strand soldered on there, it'll work. But I can't pull the wire over to the extension. The extension's got to come over to the wire. Extension's rugged. The post it's soldered to is rugged. And the wire coming up is rugged. So I can bend that all I like. Unfortunately, it's like coming out the wrong side of the terminal there. It's far away from the wire where I want it to go. I can bend the terminal. I can bend the terminal over a little bit. That might even help stiffen the terminal inside the porcelain. Bend the terminal a little bit, bend the wire a little bit, and maybe we'll be there. I can crush that wire down against the terminal and move it quite a bit too. I don't think I'm going to do that. Once you crush it down, it's going to be a little more difficult to move. So first we'll try bending the terminal. Bend the terminal towards where we want it to go. I'm afraid I'm going to bang the camera when I do this. There. Bend the terminal. Oh, it's very easy to bend. Very easy to bend. Oh, wait, it's going right. It's not bending. What happened there? A springy? How come you didn't bend? Oh, okay, so think about this now. These terminals, they rise up into this capacitor structure up here. If I push on this terminal, let's see what happens to the capacitor. Wait a minute. Okay, so I'm just gonna try to push the terminal down through it. Look at. Ay, ay, ay. That's the capacitor moving. Huh. As it's really lousily done. That means if you tighten the capacitor, you actually wiggle these terminals ever so slightly. I think I can still bend that terminal over. So an alternative to doing that, since it looks like a problem to do it, the alternative is to bend the wire on the top of the terminal, or see if I can get that all the way over. That's got to be the next smart thing to do. Well, maybe not smart, but the next thing to try. Try to bend this without putting too much force on the terminal. Holy smokes, that's a stiff piece of wire they used in there. I didn't get anywhere. I got somewhere. I got it so I can't see it. I didn't get very far. Okay, I'm going to try that crush down thing. Move it over. Okay, that certainly moved it over. I think we're within range now. Okay, let me pull this back. You might be saying to yourself, holy smokes, man, are you nuts doing? Just get the soldering iron, whack it on there, get done with it. But the thing is, they break this wire away from the coil, and it's pretty much game over for this radio. So this whole radio is hanging on this repair. And the owner has big plans for it. Get that wax off there. It looks like I'm moving very odd. It's because I'm watching it in a camera. On a TV screen, rather, through a camera, not looking directly at it. The doctor says to you, I'm going to do this laparoscopically. You want to ask him right away, how many of those have you done? And he says, oh, you'll be my first. You'll say, no, I won't. I won't be your first. It's almost off. Come on, it just drop off. What if I heat this tool up and try to melt it off at this point? Try to melt it away. Why am I so worried about it? I think when I hit this with a soldering iron, if the stuff does melt, it's going to flow in undesirable places. I'm looking alternately down at it. Right now I'm looking right at it, but I can't see much, it's so small. So the combination of looking right at it and then looking up at the camera is very, very helpful. Come on. There's a piece of wire in there. Wow, something's holding it on. Trying my best not to move the wire around, moving around a ton. Can I nip it with something? What if I put a knife blade onto it? If I put a razor blade onto it? Can't fit a razor blade in there. What if I put... It's a Swedish fish knife. Yes, the Swedish fish knife. Okay, I don't think this is actually the Swedish fish knife, but this is a knife. Come in this way. Kind of looks like a shark. Was a wire in it. It's like picking earwax, that's what it's like. It's not beeswax, they used earwax. I'm just not getting that to come off. Maybe there's a wire in there. Sorry, I just whacked the microphone with the knife. It's really held on there. All the ridiculous things here. How's this look for dangerous? I think I managed to cut the wax and not the wire. I did not want to put cutters in there for obvious reasons. Now we'll see if we can kind of clean up the wire and make it good to connect to. Not so much cleaning up as it is looking at it here. Ooh. There it is. A little bit of copper there is what I got to connect to. This is quite a distance away. And we're going to want this to have play in it because of this. Or we're going to freeze that somehow. I don't know how. Well, I think if I solder that rate like that, I think it's too tight. I need to bring this over further, or for crying out loud, I need to extend it, which I don't want to do. Because that's a mess too. Let's see if I can squeeze it over further. I don't think that helped one bit. I think it went the wrong way. Yeah. Bending up the capacitor. Yeah. Closer. Now, like once the radio's back together and the grid cap's back on the tube, none of this gets moved. Looks like I gotta bend this back towards the coil more. Okay, did we make it? Make it much better than this. I just try to blob a bunch of solder onto that and hope it works. That's about as good as we can do there. Okay, back at it. Blob on. What's moving? Camera's moving? How steady is this? So-so. Not particularly steady. Okay. Okay, here we go. Temp number 1. So, how is that attached? I can see it could be how attached. It's kind of a destructive test to find out how attached it is. I'll wiggle the wire and we'll see what happens. That's what it has to tolerate. It has to tolerate the wire wiggle. Oh, it's definitely connected there. Is it electrically connected? Oh, come on. Okay, we're going to find out. Did that make an electrical connection? So if this connection if I fixed it, this connection I'm working on, if this really was broken all along, and I suspect it actually was, or it broke very early on in me operating this radio, because if I remember right, it received, then I worked on it, and then it didn't receive. So it could be I'm the one who broke it. Okay, so we're going to go across the coil between the contacts. Here we go. Bingo. Okay, so it's connected. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to put this whole thing back together and find out that it didn't do it right. How could I not do it right? It's not much to it. Attach the wire. The only really bad thing that can happen now is in the course of putting it back together, I break that wire off. So the process here is slide the can on. This wire is not long enough to, jeepers creepers, I think I might solder an extension on this right now so it's out to here. Slide the can on it, pull that wire out. Some kind of an extension on here, because the can, where's the can? The can's already coming onto this before the wire comes out the top. I guess all these problems exist in the factory when they're building the radio, and they resolve them all through factory processes and the order of operations and all that kind of stuff. So they don't have guys on the assembly line going, "What do I do now?" Like me. I have to bear off some of this conductor anyway. Sooner or later, might as well do it now. And I could solder a little piece of wire on there, and we're in business. That'll work. Just take a little bit off here. I'm going to take a fair bit. Okay, I don't want to shake this thing too much. Lovely. That just came off there like it was meant to do that. Now I want to solder a little extension wire. It can be almost any kind of wire. Thinner would be better. What about this gigantic reel of wire that I have here? Just inappropriate for most uses because it's way too thin. It's just telephone wire, but it's going to work for this just fine. And I may even use it in the end to make the connection to the this guy's a little brutal on such light wires. Let's see if he can do it. No, just cuts the wire. This is a terrible way to do it too, because doing this, put a nick in the copper, and the nick right where the insulation, where you've been cutting, a little tiny nick, you can't even see it. I bend the wire 3 times and it breaks. Of course, you only bend it 2 times while you're working. The 3rd time comes months later. Why am I doing this? I don't need the other end here. I'm going to do it anyway. When I was a kid, I didn't have any cutters. I had a snub nose pliers with cutters on side cutters, and the way I did this stripping, I could do it now. In fact, I haven't done this for years. I lay it on my finger like this. Take the knife. Where's the knife? Who took the fish knife? Here it is. Not the fish knife. And I would strip my wires this way. Darn, the insulation is really gripping on these wires. There we go. Got it. Okay, so now we're going to solder this on as an extension. I said there's a problem with the grid cap. The grid cap, the part that actually clips onto the cap on the tube, is made of steel because you need the spring in it to have it clip on the top of a tube. Because it's steel, you can't solder to it. So how do you hook a wire, like copper or plated wire, to steel? You crimp it, and that's it. So this little guy here, he's just crimped very thoroughly up in this area. No solder. These occasionally fail. Occasionally. Oops. What am I going to do? I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to do this first. Okay, let's solder that on there. Solder doesn't want to go on this wire either. Come on, just a little bit. Kind of do a plumber's wipe there. Plumber's wipe is a way of sealing pipes using lead. Hopefully this is going to go through the hole in the can. I don't know. It's a small hole. Yeah, it'll go through. Okay, so we get this wire to go through. Oh, this is barely long enough. This way. This is the way. Yeah, I cut this wire just exactly the wrong length here. Just another inch longer and this would just be over with. Part. By Jove, he's got it. Sort of got it. Sort of got it. No, I gotta get the. Yeah, this is. Man. Anybody understand anything I just said? I'd be impressed. Somehow now. Took a miracle. It's come through. Lucky break there. Okay, let's lock this in a little bit here. Good. Now, slide that. So this is a real high-risk operation, taking one of these out and fooling around with it. The reason it's high risk is that if you mess this guy up, you know, you don't really have any alternatives. It's game over, I think would be the term. Unless you have to go get another radio like this one. Although I have worked on one radio where somebody replaced an IF can with an IF can from a totally different radio, and the radio still worked. Probably didn't perform the way it should. So maybe not quite game over, but really close. Okay, screws onto the bottom here. And if in fact this does restore the radio, I can be pretty happy with what I've done. What did I do with the... there it is. Let's see if we can get the screw on here. Nut. See if we can get the nut on. Weren't there lock washers and stuff? Weren't there washers? I remember removing them. They're not particularly necessary. And can't find them. Yeah. And in a world where you're building thousands of these, you need to do things a certain way so you don't end up with hundreds of bad radios. When you're working on your own, you know, just doing a restoration, it's actually a little different. Got it. What I mean by that is you can only put 3 screws in instead of all 4. Stuff like that. Shh, that's a secret. I shouldn't let that out. Now there's another. Well, there's another example right there. When you're building thousands of these, there's a chance that shorts are going to happen. So you do this, so you don't get 100 defective radios. Chances are I'm okay. Chances are I'm okay. Just keep telling yourself that. So I have managed to lose the nut, the second nut. I really want to put the second nut on. Wasn't that the one that dropped in the radio and I never found it? Is that what that was? I can't remember now. Wasn't I looking for one and never found it? Found it. Okay, try this rather difficult technique again. That didn't work. Okay, this nut is really trying to escape. Where'd he go to? I heard him gallop off in this direction. There he is. Wow. What an attempt to hide. Didn't work though. So let's try that resonance thing again with the sweep generator. See what's happened now. Okay, so what I've done is I've hooked up the sweep generator onto the input onto the primary. Well, I actually don't know that I have it on the primary. I think I have it on the primary side. And the scope is looking at the secondary, and I don't see any peak in that. That looks like what's going in is coming out straight through. So I don't know what that means. Could mean the way I've set the test up is bogus. That's what I'm gambling on. The gamble is I'm going to turn on this radio and see if it works, given what I've done to it. And I have to solve this situation up here. Yeah, okay, I gotta solve that first.